Hello, this is part 2 of my project to rebuild the corner cupboard and put some new shelves up over the kitchen unit in my DIY camper van. A project that has so far involved me taking down the ceiling and trying to reroute all the wiring. It's a long and complicated story, and I will leave a link to part 1 in the video description below if you want to see what all that was about. In today's tasks, I need to, well, hopefully I'll get the wiring done. Do you know, when I started out, I thought, oh, this might make a 5-minute video, and here we are at video 2. Hopefully I just pull the wires out, reroute them, job done, and we can all have a nice cup of tea. Let's find out. The first thing I've done is pull the plastic ducting off. Those covers just pull off, and then the wires fall out of those ducts, ready to be rerouted. The ducting comes down underneath the sink, so I'm going to need to remove the wastewater tank and the freshwater tank in order to get in there. There are the wires coming down. 3 of them need to come out. One, which goes over backwards to the Propex heater, needs to stay, but the others need to be pulled through, and then they need to go down there and back through here over to the electrics cabinet. Just realised there's 3 wires that need to stay here. There's this one that comes up and goes to the water pump, and then the 2 there, one is to the Propex heater and the other one is to the gas alarm which I've got, which detects carbon monoxide and propane and all sorts of other assorted gases. So the bit of ducting you can see there is going to stay for those wires, but the ducting above needs to come off. And that will be very satisfying. That was easy. Oh, blimey. Good grief. The glue's taken half the wood off. Wow, that was really strong stuff. Here's the path the wires take. They go down that black thing, hole in the floor, underneath the floor there, and they emerge in the bottom of the electrics cabinet, which I will show you. Right, you can't see it, but it's over there. And I think in order to pull them through, that means I'm going to have to take the inverter out. The project just gets bigger. Okay. I notice I've also been good and put cable ties around the clips, so they'll have to be cut as well. After struggling to see for a bit, I suddenly remembered I designed this so that I can take the top off, and that makes access a bit easier. Not so stupid sometimes. This is where I got to. The inverter moved out just slightly, so now I can get in to the cables, and now it's a case of just gently pulling the cables through. Once I've done the first one, I think the others will be easier, as there'll be a bit more space in that duct. Let's have a go. Yay! All 3 wires are now free, and what I'm going to do is put them all through that hole there. I don't know how feasible it's going to be to see this, but what I've done is run the cable up there, which is where the solar panel cables come down from the roof. And I've taken it round that metalwork, and at the moment it's just hanging down, but I'm hopeful that will go underneath the front panel of the ceiling. Then it re-emerges there where the two ceiling panels join and goes underneath the join and comes out back where it originally came out from the ducting, whereupon it goes across the roof and back to join up with the lights or the fan or whatever. I think this is this the lights one? Yes, that's the rear lights one. So that is good, and no new wire needed. Little tiny hints of progress. I've been able to put all the water containers back in their place, and over here the inverter is back. The only thing I will need to do is put a piece of plastic ducting around those wires to stop them chafing as the van moves. To be honest, they're so solidly in there, I think any chafing would be negligible anyway, but it would be good practice. But at the moment the van isn't going anywhere, so that is not urgent. I will get that done later. And in case you're wondering, the ducting usually has a little slit in it, so you can slide it on afterwards. It doesn't have to be done at time of installation. I'll just shove it through the gap. Having rerouted all three wires up and into the corner, I think I'm now ready to put the front bit of the ceiling back. Okay, the newly crimped connectors are back on the bottom of the front ceiling panel, and here it is waiting to be put up with the other wires draped over the top of it, because that's now the route they're going to take. Oh my word, what an effort! Quick, get a pole up, keep it in place. That was a lot of effort. It did not want to go back up, and for a while there I was contemplating having to take a saw to the edges of the ceiling, because I mean it made no sense. It went up once, I took it out once, and yet it did not want to go back. But a bit of brute force, with it nearly going to snapping, anyway it's back in. But before I screw it in, I suppose I should just turn on the lights and check that the front lights still work, because if they don't work and I have to take it all apart again, that would be... No, let's not go there. So let's test the lights. Alright, the first anxious moment will be turning the power back on. That squeak is normal, that's the gas alarm saying it's alive. Okay, so far so good. Both the front and rear light switches are already on, so now I just need to turn on the switch on the lights themselves. Yay! Yay! Oh, thank goodness. Well, I'm classing this as a win. The front is back up. Now I just need to get the back up. Some time later, it's almost beginning to look like a camper van again instead of a building site, notwithstanding the fan hanging down from the roof. Obviously I'll need to repaint this at some point, but that's easy as long as I've still got a tin of the paint, which I think I have. I just need to re-glue this batten to the ceiling. The battens don't take a lot of weight, so the glue should be alright. I'm using these super strong stick anything, no more nails type glues. And the other battens are fine, it's just that one that came loose. The fan is back, and as you can see and hear, the fan is running. That was a nuisance. Due to my own incompetence, I twice ended up having to put it back. I won't bore you with the story, but just me being thick. At the end, some ingenious bodging is holding the roof up while the glue sets. All of that means that I can now get back to the original plan of turning these bits of wood into a shelf over the cooker. Up there, now that the ducting isn't in the way anymore. Oh my, what a job. It's another day, and it's quite a nice day as well. There is a hint of sunshine in the sky. I'm supposed to be doing something else, but I thought if the weather is nice, let's go back down to the van and do the woodwork for the shelving unit. So that's what my plan is for today. After considerable time and effort spent chopping up and gluing and all that kind of stuff, what I have in fact created is a Frankenshelf, which doesn't look like I wanted or do like I wanted. It's just a bit of a disaster, as usual. Now, I posted up a picture on my van Instagram of the shelf and cupboards up here, and it all looked lovely, but what you couldn't actually see was the horrible woodwork behind, and it just doesn't work. The main problem I have is that I want the doors to open upwards, but there's no space above to put any hinges, so I need a type of hinge that, as far as I can see from many Google searches, doesn't exist. I will show you a sketch I have drawn. That is the kind of hinge I need. What I want is it to be fastened on the side here, and then fastened on the shelf here, but the pivot to run at 90 degrees to that, so that the hinge is on the side of the shelf, but it still flaps upwards. So one half of the hinge needs to be flapping, and the other half needs to be fixed on the side, if that makes any sense. I have Googled various search terms, and nothing seems to come up like that. So if you know of such a hinge, that would be great. Otherwise, frankly, I think I'm going to make it again, because I didn't really like it, and I won't really like it with those hinges anyway, and it would be better if I just remade it. And yeah, I think ultimately that will be the better plan, but I can get away with what I've done if I can find a hinge like that. So if you know of any, do let me know. That will do it for this video, I think. Hopefully an update next time with a finished unit, whether it's been remade or whatever. That's it for now. Cheerio.